Hi friends! I'm wearing this hoodie that's actually my mom's, but it's like a sweater and a hoodie! It's just making me really excited. I think it's so cozy. But honestly, it's really hot because here in Texas it is still too hot to be wearing a sweater. Is this highlighter on my face or is it sweat? Who knows? Anyways, today I want to talk to you about internships. If you're thinking about clicking away from this video, you totally can. Just hear me say this one thing. Take advantage of your college years. Do not waste them. Get internships. I'm going to tell you about the general process of finding internships to apply for and the entire application process through the interviews and acceptances and everything. And then if you want to stick around in here, I'm going to tell you about some of the specific internships that I had during college. So typically there are two main ways in which you can get an internship. The first one is going to a career fair. That's where a lot of companies who are hiring interns and entry-level job positions come to a student campus. They all get together in this one place and you just, oh, my voice cracked, and you just bring your resume and your business card or whatever, you go talk to these people. So at a job fair, you're there, you have to dress up, and you're around literally everybody else in your entire department. You don't have to do research on all of the companies, but you do want to comb through and see if there are any companies that you might be interested in. Do a lot of research there. Also, since there are so many companies that are going to be present, I'm pretty sure everybody behind those tables would feel appreciated if you knew who their company was specifically, and you're able to show them that you came to their table because of them, not just because you happened to pass it by. The second way in which you can find internships is do your own research. So as you do your own research, you want to be making a document that lists the company name, the deadline, the application materials, and any other important information, including a link to their website, preferably the exact page that has all of that information about internships there. Once you've made your list, you might want to organize it in order of deadlines. Closest deadline, put it at the top. Further deadline, put it at the bottom. That way you'll be certain that you don't miss anything. And you know this goes without being said, make sure that your resume, cover letter, all of your application materials are in tip-top shape. If you get an interview, congratulations, you're in the running for the job. You want to make sure you're prepared for it. Think of every possible question that they could ask you and have an answer for it. Literally just Google interview questions and you will come up with articles and pages of different questions that people might ask you during an interview. Even if you know it's going to be a really short interview, you still want to go through all these questions and practice having an answer for them. The more confident you are that you'll be able to come up with a good answer, the less stressed out you'll feel when they start asking you questions. Also, know that there are different types of interviewers. Sometimes interviewers will try to intimidate you. What you do in that situation is give them all the respect that you can. But also, don't stress out because remember, they invited you to be there and they want you to be the solution to their problem. Another type of interviewer is the type who was laid back on purpose, oh yeah, come on in, yeah, no worries. Do you want an apple? You can just get anything, grab anything from the kitchen, whatever, yeah. Yeah, how are you? What are you doing? What you been doing today? They act really laid back so that you're gonna act really laid back. Listen, don't give up your game. Of course, it's really valuable and quite important if you're able to reciprocate somebody's energy, but your brain still has to be working 100 miles an hour. You can speak casually, but still make sure that you are on top of your game with what you were telling them. Also, a good interview will get to a point at which they ask you if you have any questions about the company. Make sure you have questions. If you don't have any, here are some good ones. What have you found to be the most rewarding part about working for this company? How would you describe the company's culture? How do you measure success in this position? So many questions you can ask them. Make a list of 3 to 5 of them just in case they answer them already in the interview. So once you get your opportunity to ask a question, you have something to say other than, nope, we answered all the questions already. See if you can find out as much as you can about the company before you go. Dig deep into their website. It's all up there. It's information that's public, so there's no reason that you shouldn't go look at it and be knowledgeable about the company you're interviewing for. After your interview, send them a quick thank you. Honestly, if I was a person interviewing, I wouldn't really want to receive an influx of thank you letters from people that I interviewed, but apparently it works. You're supposed to do it, so do it. Okay, now I'm going to tell you about the internships that I worked when I was in college. Okay, my first one was an internship with the education department at a theater that I worked at. Honestly, the application and interview process seemed pretty chill, although I knew that I totally wasn't a shoo-in. I was much younger than people usually are when they are interns. So I still put my best foot forward in my interview even though I knew the people interviewing me, and I ended up getting offered one of the positions. So that internship was basically a dual training type situation. We would spend the whole day teaching kids theater And then afterwards, we would sometimes have like meetings and seminars where our higher ups would teach us good training technique and how to build a curriculum, all that good stuff. I was 19 years old when I did this internship, and in some of my classes I had 18-year-olds, and it was kind of weird. I had this one high school group one time, and there was one girl who I guess thought I was also in high school, and she wasn't sure like why I was in charge of her. And she was all like, "What school do you go to?" And I was like, "The University of Texas at Austin. What school do you go to?" Just kidding, I didn't say it that mean. No, anyways though, it was kind of weird being tiny and looking like a teen, being in charge of like high school seniors who were younger than me. Just didn't feel like it. Second summer, I had this internship at a theater festival all the way up in the Berkshire Mountains. Okay, I could talk to you for like literally days, and I still wouldn't be able to get through all of the stories. So at that place, we like to refer to it as Broadway Summer Camp, because we would have all of these like top tier artists coming all the way up from, I don't know, New York, some flew in from LA and stuff, to come do theater like in the mountains with us. Oh no. I was 19 then. So whenever I was teaching like summer camps, I was 18, so the same age as some of my students. I was 19 when I was in the mountains. I was a company management intern. Company management takes care of actors, directors, writers, choreographers. So we took care of the transportation. We would like drive them back and forth from the train station in Albany, which was the closest train station. It was an hour away. And we took care of their housing because we put them up in housing there. And then everything in between they would come to us for. That was a whole lot of fun. And during that internship, I became enamored with a theater in New York City, because that place only hired one intern, and it was like one of the most sought out internship programs in New York City. Definitely one of the most highest paid. I ended up landing that internship. That's what I did for my last summer of college. It was terrible. I did terrible. Internship was great. I am just bad at working 9 to 5s. I mean, during my midterm meeting, my supervisor sat me down and literally said, "Mia, we really like you as a person, but when it comes to work, you just aren't delivering as much as we had hoped." So yeah, that was kind of wild, because I was on one hand living my dreams, living in New York City for the first time, the other hand like bombing my dream internship. Also, there was one more internship in between those last 2 summers. I had to do an internship to finish out my advertising major. This is the only one that I got from a job fair. I did the job fair totally wrong. I showed up in a romper and heels, which is apparently wrong. You're supposed to be wearing things more formal, but I was like, I'm not gonna go in a black pencil skirt. Honestly, I walked around and I was like, it reeks of desperation. But at that time, I was writing as an assistant / like junior editor for a magazine, and I saw a stand for Texas Monthly, which is this major magazine in Texas. So I went up to them, talked to them a little bit. They just like gave me a piece of paper to write down my info and attach to my resume, put it in this box with like that many other resumes. And they were like, "If we're interested, we'll reach out to you." A couple of weeks later, they reached out to me and they were like, "Hey Mia, we think you might be a good fit. You want to come in for an interview?" So I rode my bike downtown, parked it, walked up for my interview. It's a gorgeous office. That was my first taste of like, ooh, these are nice offices. And here, this is something that I didn't say because I'm a bad storyteller. Texas Monthly was the only company from the job fair that reached back out to me. Also for the Mountain Place and the place in New York City, both of those years I sent out like 15 to 20 internship applications, and the only ones that gave me an interview were the ones that I ended up getting. So that's like a theme in my life that just happens all the time. So I was so thankful when I got that Texas Monthly internship. I was only there like super part-time, like 9 hours a week. I mean, listen, I got that college credit, I got that line on the resume, I got my degree, it's all good. But yeah, those were the internships that I did during college, and although most of them were in an area that I wasn't really planning on professionally going into, it was still priceless to use my time as a college student getting all of this stuff under my belt so that once I graduated, my resume was like, and the work experience really teaches you things that you cannot learn in the classroom. So there are my thoughts on internships. That's it. That's all I had to say today. Hope you found a takeaway somewhere in there. I'll see you next week.